Welcome to Gun News Review, our Friday recap of the week's gun news. Gun control groups in the U.S. are outspending gun rights supporters by more than 40% ahead of next month's midterm elections. The Federal Election Commission on Friday released a report indicating groups such as Giffords and Everytown for Gun Safety have spent just over $20 million on the elections. In contrast, pro-gun groups led by the NRA spent only about $14 million. You can thank anti-gunner and billionaire Michael Bloomberg for most of the left's funding as he considers a 2020 presidential run. It's the first time in at least 20 years that gun control organizations have spent more than supporters of gun rights in federal races. Missouri Attorney General Josh Hawley's Senate campaign and the NRA's Political Victory Fund are accused of illegal campaign coordination.
The allegation was made in a complaint filed Monday with the Federal Election Commission by the Washington-based Campaign Legal Center and the Giffords Gun Control Group. The complaint accuses the Hawley campaign and the NRA of engaging in an elaborate scheme to conceal illegal coordination of campaign ads. It claims that one person last month placed ads on behalf of Hawley's campaign and the NRA's political fund with the same television station on the same day. The complaint says this is strong evidence of coordination between the two. Both the NRA and the Hawley campaign deny the allegations, pointing to the involvement of a gun control group in the complaint as a reason to be skeptical. I'm Arthur Wyman, Gun News Review.
Remington has settled a class action lawsuit over trigger problems in Model 700 and Model 7 rifles. The lawsuit alleged the guns can fire without the trigger being pulled, but Remington maintains the rifles are safe and denied allegations that it tried to cover up the alleged defect for decades. The deadline for Remington to appeal the case to the Supreme Court came and went on Tuesday. The suit covers more than 7 million rifles, and owners have 18 months to file a claim for a retrofit, voucher, or a refund. A resident from the Netherlands is challenging California's concealed carry law after being denied a permit. Arie van Nieuwenhuizen, who has been a permanent resident of the U.S. since 1983 while maintaining Netherlands citizenship, says the Riverside County Sheriff's Department is violating his Second and 14th Amendment rights. He says the Sheriff's Department earlier this month rejected his application for a concealed carry permit on the grounds that only U.S. citizens can be granted a permit. The Riverside Sheriff's Department says it cannot comment on pending litigation. 2 Arkansas lawmakers have indicated that 2 proposed gun legislation bills may not even make it out of the Joint Judiciary Committee. Democratic Representative Greg Leding and Democratic Senator Will Bond had proposed a red flag law which would allow authorities to take guns away from people who are deemed dangerous to themselves or others. But Republican Senator Brett Garner called the bill a violation of constitutional rights, and fellow Republican Linda Collins-Smith called it a bad bill, period. Garner suggested he would file an amendment to the bill to call it the Arkansas Gun and Personal Property Seizure Law. The other bill meeting Republican opposition would raise the age to buy so-called assault weapons to 21. Both pieces of legislation will be discussed further during next year's session starting in January. A Colorado school district is the latest to allow teachers and other employees to carry concealed handguns on campus. The Board of Education in the town of Peyton, just east of Colorado Springs, voted last week to designate teachers and other staff as security guards following training. Superintendent Tim Kistler tells the Gazette newspaper that school personnel won't carry guns on campus until the board approves specific plans. The district is forming committees to develop a wide-ranging security program before allowing teachers to be armed. Staff could be trained by the fourth quarter of next year. You're listening to Gun News Review. A hard-edged radio advertisement has hit the airwaves in Washington state, blasting Initiative 1639, the 30-page gun control measure now facing voters there. The advertisement is sponsored by Washingtonians and the NRA for Freedom, a political action committee to which the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms has significantly contributed. It began airing as ballots began arriving in mailboxes throughout Puget Sound to remind voters what's at stake.
When an intruder comes into your home, every second counts. If you call 911 in some Seattle neighborhoods, it takes 18 minutes for police to arrive. 18 minutes. Protecting your family is up to you. But Initiative 1639 would take away your right to self-defense. I-1639 renders home defense firearms useless in an emergency, and young adults would lose their gun rights.
The radio message challenges voters to set their clocks for 18 minutes and then close their eyes and imagine waiting for police and then vote for your safety. I-1639 is the only gun control issue on the ballot anywhere in the United States this year. A hot topic of discussion in Ventura County, California this week was whether gun shows should be banned from the fairgrounds. Supporters and opponents came from all over the county on Tuesday, filling the room at the fairgrounds board meeting. Those supporting the ban hope the fairgrounds board will not renew a contract that's up in 2019 with Crossroads of the West Gun Show. The company has hosted gun shows there at the fairgrounds for years, but opponents of the ban say it's just one step closer to confiscating weapons. It's not known when the board will make a decision. American hunter Larysa Switlyk is getting international criticism after posting a photo on Twitter of herself and a friend during a hunting trip to Scotland, posing with a wild goat they had hunted. Switlyk, a Florida-born hunter who hosts a show on Canada's Wild TV, immediately began receiving responses from people outraged over the picture. Switlyk also posted photos of another goat, a ram, and a red stag killed during the Scotland hunting trip on the island of Islay. Now, some Scottish lawmakers are vowing to change hunting laws, calling the photos disgraceful. Next week, you'll have a chance to own some rare collectible guns going up for auction. Morphy's premier Firearms, Militaria, and Sporting Auction gets underway in Denver, Pennsylvania, with guns up for auction representing 350 years of firearms production. Of special note are two well-documented guns of the Old West, whose importance cannot be overstated. An 1890s Colt single-action Army revolver that belonged to Dodge City's fabled sheriff, Wyatt Earp, and an 1873 Winchester used by the legendary Chief Rain in the Face. The Earp gun is expected to sell up for $100,000, while the rifle belonging to the feared Lakota Sioux chief who claimed responsibility for killing General George Custer at Little Bighorn is expected to go from between $200,000 and $250,000. Morphy says the event will open with one of the largest offerings of fully automatic weapons ever to come to auction. You've been listening to Gun News Review, comprehensive and concise.